Welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Keith with Dads for Life, and this is our Monday night straight talk with parents. You know, we are so excited. We are going into several weeks of doing this now since school started, where we're encouraging and enhancing parents and just doing everything we can to try to help you be encouraged, stay encouraged, so you can encourage those kids. And tonight we have a special guest on, my friend Ryan Roy from Justify or Just Do It. He's waving over there. He kind of has a military look to him tonight there. He is a coach. He is a one guy that can get you going when you need to get going. But also, I cannot forget my dear friend out there in Australia in the Gold Coast region is Miss Ariel Wheeler. Say hello, Ariel.
Hey, thanks for joining in, and thanks for the intro. I love you, my darling. It's so great to be here. I just want to say, hey, I'm Ariel. I'm founder of iHerbrand, and today we are talking about the straight talk. And our special guest is Ryan Roy, who's all about Justify and yes for parents. So I'm going to let Keith take over and introduce Ryan.
All right, thank you, Ariel. I tell you, folks, we are blessed to have Mr. Ryan Roy on here tonight, the conductor of the Periscope Scope trains. If you've ever been on those, which I have been honored to be on there he is, the conductor. Getting ready for the show tomorrow night, but tonight we have him for the next 30 minutes or so, and we are talking directly about accountability. Why a parent needs to be accountable to somebody, or at least to themselves, so they can kick their own butt in gear sometimes, so they can get their kids motivated. Have you ever had those kids that just don't want to do anything? Oh, I don't want to go to school today. You know, I can tell you this, that I have those days. Someday I don't want to get out of bed. You know, during this last hurricane we just had a couple of days ago, I didn't want to go outside. I tell you, Ryan, it was a mess there in Florida. But I can tell you this, that some days you just have to kick yourself in the butt, get out of bed, and get going again. And that's why I invited my friend Ryan Roy from Justify or Just Do It on tonight. So we do have an accountability coach and creator of the Justify Do It website. And I'm going to let him just kind of tell a little bit about himself. Yes, Ryan, you can talk about yourself right now to our parents who not only come in and out on the Zoom class, but they also come in. We're seeing them through Periscope, and sometimes we get questions through that. But I want you to just tell us, who is Ryan Roy, and why do you just say Justify or Just Do It, sir?
Well, thank you so much for that awesome introduction, Keith. And Ariel, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate both of you for having me on tonight. It's such an honor. A little bit about myself. Well, number one, I am a coach. I do call myself an accountability coach. And a lot of people say, what does that mean? And I explain it this way. A lot of times we grow up, right? And we have accountability in every area of our life. When we grow up, parents are our accountability factor. Then we get into school and it's our teachers. Then we go on to college sometimes, or the workforce, and it's either our professors or our bosses. But I work with a lot of entrepreneurs personally in my business, and they don't necessarily have anybody creating that structure for them. So they hire a guy like myself who really figures out what it is they want to accomplish in their business, in their personal lives. I help them to clearly define that. We break that down into what I call small actionable steps, and then I hold them accountable to taking those steps to reach the success. But tonight we're talking about parenting. I am a father of a 5-year-old amazing little boy. My background is that I grew up without a father. So I take my job and my role as a father extremely seriously, because I know what it feels like to grow up, for lack of a better term, fatherless. As many dads do that grew up without dads, we question our abilities. We question if what we're going to do as parents is the right thing. I imagine many mothers question their parenting skills, right? There's no manual that comes along with being a parent, but what I would say is, you know, we educate ourselves as best we can and do the best we can with the knowledge that we have to empower our young people.
Well, that sounds great. I tell you, you know, the best experience I think sometimes is being a parent, for sure. And when I started Dads for Life 14 years ago, I had no idea at some of the stories I would hear about parenting in general. My daughter was it was through a divorce situation. I never left her side. I was there all the time. And that's a parent's responsibility. But Ryan, I have a few questions for you. I want us to kind of break it down a little bit, if you don't mind. You teach others how to have effective communication in relationships. And today we're seeing a lot of ineffective communication among parents and kids. But what are a couple suggestions that you, sir, can do to offer parents to better communication, to have that better communication with our kids to help shorten the gap? Because there's always a gap of some kind, right? No matter what age. But what can we do to shorten that gap a little bit, do you think?
Well, the first thing I would suggest, communication is a two-way street, number one. So the most important part of communication at any level is first listening. So what I would highly suggest, and I imagine the moms out there can relate to this, when a child or a baby comes into this world, very quickly we start distinguishing the different cries. Right? Because we listen, we get that fine-tuned ear. So we understand, oh, it's a hunger cry. Oh, it's a wet diaper cry. Oh, it's an I'm uncomfortable cry. It's, oh, I just wanted to be held cry. And moms understand this at a high level because it's very intuitive. As parents, as these children get older, we tend to think, oh, they understand. So what I would say very first part of communication would be to listen. And too often as parents, in my opinion, we tend to jump the gun or think that we're just going to throw the authority. So if we're listening to our children, I'll give a quick example. The other day, my son and I were having a discussion, and he literally, I was slightly frustrated with him. Here's the other thing. I always say eye contact. So I was on my knee in front of him talking to him, and he literally said to me, "Daddy, I don't understand." So right there, the communication is, well, I don't need to drill it into him anymore. Maybe I'm talking at a level a little bit over his head because I tend to speak to him at a level a little bit higher than his age group because I always want him to understand and challenge him. So one is listening, and two is eye contact, and number three is talk to them, not at them. And that, again, goes with eye level, and that goes with any relationship, not just that one of a child, because there's a mutual respect when we talk. Listen first and then talk based on what we heard, but we must listen.
Absolutely. I was just on the phone with my daughter, and I've actually on FaceTime my daughter and my granddaughter a moment ago, and she was just went into this crying episode because it was time to turn off the TV and eat, right? And she was just like, I don't want to. And I said, I think you need to go and tend to that. And she kind of looks over her shoulder and sees me and stops crying for a minute. And then she turned around and she started that episode again. So she was acting, right? She was like, they know how to pull your strings sometimes, don't they?
Absolutely. They learn really quickly how mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, anyone that they can get, they test constantly, right? To see how we react, and based on our reactions is how they tend to play the fiddle. Yeah,
they sure do. I'm going to ask you one more question. I'm going to turn it back over to Ariel there to Australia. But you say on your website, it all starts with yes. So too many parents today, they say yes too often and not no enough. When do you say, okay, already, I've said yes too many times right now, I got to start saying no, but you can't say yes all the time, can you? Because if you do, now I know on your website you're saying yes to your dreams, your goals, and so forth, but to your child, you can't say yes all the time, can you?
Actually, I believe you can.
Really?
So, yes. So, yes, you can say yes. and this is what I mean by that. So I always give my son choices, right? So they may be two choices that he doesn't like or three choices that he doesn't like, right? So for an example, one day I said, we need to go out the door. We needed to go. And he goes, I want to keep watching this show. This was like 2 years ago. He was like 3 years old and we needed to go. And I said, yes, you could continue to watch the show. And I picked him up and we walked out the door, and he's completely confused, right? Because I said yes, but my actions are different than my words. And as we were getting halfway to the car and the TV's off and we're out the door and I locked the door, he said, Daddy, you said I could finish watching. I said, absolutely. You could finish watching when we get home. It's recorded. So I said yes, but it wasn't in the moment, right? But there was no conflict. Right. Any other example can just be giving two choices he doesn't like. He said, well, I want dessert. Absolutely. You can have dessert. You could have, or you could have this or that. Oh, I'll give a great example. He loves to go shopping, right? My wife loves to go shopping, and every time we go shopping, it's real simple for me. Is we'll go into Target, and he says, Daddy, I want this toy. This just happened over the weekend. Daddy, I want this toy. I said, that's absolutely, you can have that toy. Would you like it on your Christmas list? Because Christmas is around the corner. So yes, you can have it if you want it from Santa. Or you can tell Daddy in 2 weeks. And if you still want it and it's important enough for you, we can get it in 2 weeks. But we're not going to do an impulse buy. I never said yes to him. If he tells me in 2 weeks he wants the toy, I know that toy was important enough for him to get. And if he chooses to put it on his Christmas list, and it's still, because we'll review that, right, as we get closer and closer to the holiday, if it's still on his list, then he'll still get it. But I never said no. It's him making the choices, and he's either saying yes or no to himself based on the options I'm giving him.
I understand that, because you're actually teaching them early too how to do that. You know, how there's consequences to the wrong choices, you know, but you definitely are teaching them how to make those choices. And sometimes they learn that was a bad choice. I mean, hey, I got burned by a frying pan when I was 5 years old. My mom told me don't get near it. I wanted to cook my own grilled cheese, right, without my shirt on. I will never do that again, all right? Mom taught me a lesson, all right, because the frying pan burned me, right? So shit hot and me hot. And so that was my consequence, because I didn't listen to Mom. So, all right, Ariel.
And they're simple lessons. They are very simple lessons, right? He's learning critical thinking from a young age, and he's always being challenged. And I can tell you, I would say like 99 out of 100 times, because I'm always shocked. I'm always curious to see what he's going to choose. If he's going to choose the better of the two options, and sometimes they're not good options, you know. And I would say, I think only once or twice I've literally said, really, he picked that option? Okay, his choice, you know. So it's
let's go to Australia and ask Ariel, see if she has a question. Maybe she'll talk about your wonderful website a little bit. She is our branding specialist as well.
Awesome.
We're excited to have her with us tonight. Ariel, what can we ask Ryan on your end?
Hi, great. I have a bunch of questions, but I'm going to keep them super, super easy just for the call today. However, I think sometimes as parents, we are taught to always say yes and always say no. And it's great that you brought up some examples on how to say yes, but ultimately you say no, but allowing them to actually choose on their terms. So do you have any more examples of some, typical things that, that top up, when you go to the grocery store, like, Mom, can I have this toy? Like, how do you translate that better to your child about not, spontaneous spending? Because we're obviously teaching them to be successful later in their life, but how can we instill those successful traits that we would like to instill in our children so that they aren't doing the same things that our parents taught us?
Well, and we all come from different backgrounds. So I don't know what your parents taught you, or my parents, or Keith's parents taught him. So we typically do exactly what we were taught. That's all we know. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just is what it is. But if, my wife's a spender, I'm the one who has to rein him in. I'm the one who has to rein him in at the store and really discern those things. He gets plenty of things, but they don't necessarily come from Dad. I just talk to him. I literally talk to him, and I give him choices. And like I said, they're not always choices that he desires. So, grocery store, he knows what he's allowed to get for treats. And he gets his treats. He gets his cookies. I always say this. He doesn't get more than he needs, and I always ask him why he gets it. And if you ever ask my son why he gets certain things, he says it's because I'm a good boy. Right? So it's always reinforced that you get this because you act accordingly. Now, those tend to be the same punishments, if you would. So he gets dessert every night. It's kind of expected because he's always a good kid. So, one of the things, and as we get older, these things are going to have to change, but it's, hey, Christian, do you want dessert later on? Yes. You need to listen to Daddy now, right? Or there's going to be a consequence. And it's always talk to him at this decibel. It's always talk to him at this level. He understands communication. But I always say this, always communicate to your children. For instance, I am traveling tomorrow. I had just brought him to soccer practice. My wife met me at soccer practice so I could come back for this. And I'm traveling tomorrow. It's a pop-up travel day. And I said to him, hey, tomorrow I want you to know what's going on over the next few days. Daddy's going to be traveling. He's going to be gone for 2 days. You're going to miss him for one night. I will be gone for almost 2 full days. And guess what? I will be picking you up from school when he gets off the airplane. So you're only going to miss me one night. Tomorrow's not going to be a challenge when he picks him up, when my wife picks him up from school and he comes home and Daddy's not here. He'll know that I'll be talking to him. He's already prepared mentally for the next 2 days. He already knows what's happening. There's no surprise. It's not like, where's Dad? What's going on? How's this? He's already been mentally prepared. My wife and I take extreme efforts in making sure he always knows what's going on. And we do a lot. We travel a lot. We do a lot of things. He's in a lot of activities, but there's never a surprise. He always knows 2 or 3 days ahead of time exactly what's going in our lives. And then there's no pushback because he knows exactly what's going on. I hope I answered your question.
No, actually you did. It's good that you're focusing on communication, but also instilling behavioral traits in them as well, so that when there's something extreme happens, they won't be so freaked out, like, why isn't Dad here, or why isn't Mum here, why hasn't someone picked me up from school? It's all about preparing them, and I like the fact that you're actually going outside of that bubble and saying, hey, look, mate, I'm going to be away for a day or two, but however, Mum's going to be there at daycare or at school to come pick you up. However, I'll talk to you on Skype later. So it's great that you're actually mentally and physically preparing him for that, because when he gets later in life, maybe 16, 18, 20, or 50, he's already had that life experience being taught to him in a way that he's going to be more prepared for life. So I'm actually quite grateful, because I have a 2-year-old now, so I'm actually experiencing all of that right now. So for me personally, it's super helpful knowing that, yes, I may be doing it in the right way, but also knowing that my child is actually getting a benefit from that. So I'm going to let Keith go back to goals, because that's our next question. So what the heck are goals, and how we can instill that in our children?
Absolutely. Ryan, you teach about goals, and as a young divorced dad, I made it a point to teach my daughter about goals. I taught her about goals in sports, about her grades. I taught her how to apply herself the best she could all times, and don't let others lead her down the paths that she doesn't want to travel. Little did I know it actually paid off, and it paid off in a big way for her, and it paid off in a scary way for me. And how that happened was that she did apply herself, and she would come home and talk to me and say, Dad, people are trying to cheat off my paper and so forth. And I said, well, you're protecting yourself, because she didn't want nobody. She said, I study for my own work, and she did that, right? So it paid off for her down the road in sports and in education, because she got these scholarships. She got some big scholarships that paid all of her groups. So I don't know what that's all about. We're good for not doing that. Apologize. But yet she got those paid for in her scholarship. So her goals worked for her. Well, at 11 years old, I taught her how to write her goals down on a 3x5 card. And one of them said, jump out of an airplane, in parentheses, with Dad. I go, let's talk about this goal. We're not doing this at 11 years old, all right? She said, no, I know, Dad, later down the road. And sure enough, at 21 years old, she reminded me of that and bought and had reservations for us to do that.
Awesome.
And I said, jump out of an airplane? What are you talking about? She said, Dad, well, you told me years ago we could go parachuting together, and this is a good time to do that. And she had the money. I'm going, so I fulfilled my bargain. I tell you, Ryan, you got to be careful how you set your goals with your kids, because her dad and her, here we are jumping out of this perfectly good flying airplane. But it worked. It paid off for her, but it paid off for me a little bit scary, because I was kind of hesitant to do that. But I fulfilled my goal with her. So how do we do that, Ryan? How do we teach our goals and to our children, and what age should we start, sir?
Oh, we could start as early as a 2-year-old. So I'm sure you have a son or a daughter, Ariel? Oh, she's on mute.
Yeah, she has.
Yeah, I've got a daughter, yeah.
So you got a daughter. So she's 2 years old right now. She probably likes stickers. She probably likes stars. So, but there's certain things. All kids like stickers. My son just got a little tattoo, right, from the doctor, because he got his flu shot the other day. So he can't wait to get his little tattoo on. They like these little trinkets, whatever they may be. So something you can do is put something up in their playroom. You have all these things. We have calendars on my walls. I don't have anything on my back wall, but I have calendars all over the place. I have things to show what I need to get done. Well, we're adults, right? But I always say in coaching, you need to reward yourself. So what you can do, and what we've done here, is he has a bucket. So we have a little bucket on the wall, and every time he does something good, right, we say, ooh, you get a star or a sticker, and we put it in the bucket. So it's just a sticker that goes above this picture of a bucket. When he gets 20 stars, he gets to pick something that he wants to do, whether it's go to the park, whether it's you know, go to the store and get a toy, whatever it is. And he's always like, oh, Daddy, I did that. Can I get a sticker? So he's excited about doing the right things, and he's being rewarded. Even as adults, we need to reward ourselves. When I work with my clients, right, we have goals that we want to accomplish throughout the week. At the end of the week, when I start working with somebody, I send them a huge list. And on that list, Keith, just so you know, is jumping out of an airplane. It's like kind of like a bucket list thing. It's like things that you would love to do, right, in your life that you haven't done, you haven't rewarded yourself with. And no, the weekly goals are a little bit smaller. You know, it could be for someone who I have a client who loves to fish, but he used to go and fish with guilt, right? Because he wasn't accomplishing the things he wanted to in his side business. So now when he goes and fish, he knows it's his reward for having a very productive week in his business. And you don't take the reward until you do the work. Same thing with kids. You give them these small rewards and then a bigger reward, and you can do that at any age. The challenge is staying up with it. And I tell you, it's work. It's a lot of work, because they'll tell you in the middle of, I didn't go to the bathroom in my pants. Can I sit there and get a sticker? And you're like, one eye open, you're like, we'll get it in the morning. I want to put it on the bucket now. But I tell you what, when they learn reward at a young age and it's exciting, you know what? I'd rather have that challenge now than having the kid that feels neglected or didn't feel as though the things he was doing was right in their teenage years where they're being rebellious, right? So it is a lot of work, time, energy, and effort, but it's so worth the rewards, in my opinion, or at least thus far at 5 years old.
Well, that's good, because Ariel's beautiful daughter's, what, 2 years old, Ariel? Is that right?
Yeah, 2-year-old, yep.
Got a lot of goal training to do with her, so.
I do. Absolutely, because everything that I do is basically for her. Like, she's my why. She's the why I run my business, why I live the life that I choose to live. It's because it's for her. Because ultimately, we all want our children to have the best of everything, but we do want to make sure that we are instilling good things into them so that they can be and do and have whatever they want to be. So ultimately, for me to be that, I got to live an extraordinary life so she can have an extraordinary life too. And then ultimately, she can teach that to her children. And what a great place would that be if everyone sort of aimed for the same thing, you know, being good and having an extraordinary life. Like, that's just a true blessing to, you know, impart with our children.
Absolutely.
It truly is. Ryan, you talk on your website, ryanroy.me. I'm going to have Ariel pull that up. You talk about, you know, justifying or just do it. I hear you say that constantly on Scope, and we'll share your website in just a moment. But I want you to kind of explain to us, what does that mean, justify or just do it? And is it a phrase that parents should start, well, first implementing for themselves, or maybe even use with their kids?
Well, it's a term that I came up with because you can justify or come up with a reason or excuse, right? Or you can just get it done. And usually it takes about the same amount of energy, right? One is a victim mentality, and the other one is I am just going to take my life into my own hands and do it, right? So I find when I start working with people, the justifications start going down, but everyone has them. Oh, I haven't done this because I had a kid. I haven't done this because I don't have a kid. I don't have a why, right? I, didn't have enough money. Oh, I had too many responsibilities with the money that I already had. There's always a reason or a justification or an excuse, as I call them. So you could have reasons or you could have results. You cannot have both, because if you're spending your time justifying, you could be spending your time just doing it. Is it a term I would use with children? Probably not. I don't say that to my son, hey, justify or just do it, right? But when he's coming up with things, because we practice terminology, I can't control what he hears at school. And when you hear 25 other students saying, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that, and you've instilled into your son that, hey, you can do it, and he comes home, I can't do that. I said, well, you may not be able to do it now, But if we practice, we'll learn how to do it. You know, and I need to constantly be changing that terminology for him so that he believes that he can just do it and not give me those justifications of I'm too small, I'm not big enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't know how to. And we're constantly working on those things because I can't control what happens outside of the four walls of this house. What I can focus on is when I hear it, changing the terminology. If you ask my son today what he's going to be when he grows up, well, today I asked him, he said he's going to be a veterinarian. Right? I said, but what does daddy want you to be? Because it doesn't matter to me what he wants to be, as long as he's a leader. And he always follows it up with, I'm going to be a leader, daddy. I'm going to be a leader. And we follow that up in all kinds of exercises. And I'll give one really quick one because I know we got time and things like that. We were at the park 2-3 months ago. He's 5. He was 4 at the time. And he was with, I would say, 3 other kids, I believe, on top of the jungle gym or whatever you want to call it. And there had to be like an 8-year-old. And the 8-year-old, maybe he was playing all day long. Maybe he doesn't have money. Maybe he didn't take a shower. But he smelled. He had an aroma to him. And the 4-year-olds, including my son, were telling him he smelled. And he went off crying. Now, he's twice their age. But he still has feelings, right? And it doesn't matter. He wasn't going to do anything to these kids. But he got upset and he ran off. And I heard it at the very last end, you know, and I kind of gave him the look and I was like, all Daddy had to do was the finger come over, you know, and I said, what did you say to that young man? And he says, Daddy, I don't remember. Okay. I said, it's irrelevant what you said to that young man. You hurt his feelings. So what I want you to do is you can go back and play because he went off. They were gone. You know, I said, I want you to go and tell those other young men that you were playing with that was the wrong thing to do. And he was like, I don't want to do that. I said, it doesn't matter whether you want to do it. He goes, well, I want to continue playing with them. I said, here's the thing. You're going to tell them what they were doing was wrong? I go, and you could play with them. And if they do anything else, you're going to be the leader and tell them it's the wrong thing to do again. And if they don't listen to that, you're not allowed to play with them. But those are all your choices. Because if you don't want to go talk to them, then guess what? I don't need them associating with you. He didn't like it, but he wanted to play. And I heard him say it. And he did it because he's expected to be a leader. And that's what leaders do. They stick up for other kids because it's the wrong thing.
That's what I call teachable moments, Ryan. And I teach dads in my classes. You know, you got to look for those teachable moments. Like, for instance, when you go through the line and the lady gives you back too much money, you know, and, you know, one kid said something about, oh, you know, Dad, we got extra money. And Dad said, no, I don't. You know, that's not our money. You know, so that is a teachable moment, those kinds of things that you just taught.
Absolutely.
We're going to look at your website now. Ariel's going to leave that out. But many parents have challenges today. I teach financial and health and type of things to parents. And I know you do as well. You mentioned you can assist folks in personal, financial, business, health, and business areas. If parents have never seriously looked at these avenues of their personal success, where's the starting point? As Ariel, if there's something on your website you want us to point out, Ariel's going to share it in just a moment. So,
well, there's not anything specific. The one thing you could share is the front right there. So I say this, we need to start with ourselves, right? If we're not happy with ourselves, there's going to be a challenge. And if there's anything that we're unhappy with, I tend to work with people as an accountability coach on balance in their life. And there's no such thing as true balance. Ariel, you could just have it right up there on top. And if anybody's interested in my degrees in finance, I've been a serial entrepreneur, so I have all kinds of business things. And I offer a complimentary coaching session that you can see right there at the top of the screen. And anyone who would be interested in talking that out, clearly defining what it is that they want and their purpose in life, they can contact me and I'll give them a complimentary half-hour coaching session to gain some clarity as to the things that they want. Because we're all different. And a lot of people want balance in their life. They want to be a better parent. They want to be better with their finances. But the challenge with some of these things, if you weren't taught, you don't know what you don't know. Right? If you weren't taught, you don't know what you don't know. And I find in that complimentary coaching session, I've had people had major shifts in that half hour. Like, I've never thought of it that way. And that's what a coach does. That's what a mentor does, is we get you to start thinking differently so that you can achieve the things that you desire. And a lot of times people just have a challenge reaching out for help. So I'm so open. If you have 1,000 viewers right now, my thing is taking action. If you have 1,000 people right now fill up my calendar for the next year and a half, I'd be ecstatic. But I know there's a very small percentage of people who actually take that action out of fear. So guys, click on the website, go to ryanroy.me, top of the page, click on a complimentary coaching session so that we can get you where you want to go and move in a direction of success that you want in your life, whatever it may be. Relationship, financial, business, whatever it may be, we can map a plan out for you.
Wow. Well, I certainly appreciate that. You know, it's a nice looking website there, and the things you're doing to help people. You know, I'm all about helping people go to another level. That's for sure. Started out with doing that with dads, and now I got parents all over the place. In fact, they're getting ready to go to the United Kingdom and encourage some dads there. So I'm excited about, you know, where God takes us in our journeys of success. So, Ariel, got anything from Mr. Ryan before we close it out?
Actually, I don't, but I do have one question for Ryan, though.
Yes.
What is one true message that we can give to parents and to our children today?
Well, the first thing that pops to my mind, and I always like to go with that because it's the truest, is for whatever is going to come out of anybody's mouth, just go with that instinct and respect. You know, my mom taught respect those around you, respect your elders, respect yourself, right? And number one, the most important person to respect is respect yourself, because if you don't respect yourself, you can't respect others. So, you know, just communicate people. If you want to be communicated to, if you want to be listened to, listen to people. If you want to be heard, you know, listen to people. If you, whatever it is you want to voice, if you want to communicate, and we started this off with this, I believe the truest form of communication is really to listen to people, listen to what they're saying. And I'll end it with this. I mean, the person could be watching this. I don't know. I had a call today. I'm dealing with a challenge today. I'm traveling tomorrow because my father's passing, right? We're towards the end. And I had somebody reach out to me on Friday, and I said, hey, call me on Monday. If you contact me, we'll talk. I stayed true to that obligation. When they called, I followed up. This person didn't listen to what I had to say. First thing that happened on the call was this. Hey, Ryan, how are you doing? I said, I've had a rough weekend, but thank you for asking. And they went right into their sales pitch. And I said, okay, I'm listening, but you're not listening. I'm hearing you. I said, I'm not ready today to move forward with this. To be honest with you, I can't really process what you're saying, and because my heart's not here. I had some challenges, and if you'd like to reschedule this call, I think it'd be better served for you and me. Continued sales pitch. Another 5 minutes. I said, you know, I'm just being true to you, because all I'm hearing is you're not hearing me, right? I'm not hearing them because they're not hearing me. I said, my father's passing. I'm trying to make, you know, I wanted to be true to what I said. If you contact me, I'll follow up. I'm trying to make airplane reservations to fly out tomorrow. Maybe we should do this another time. Oh, I haven't seen my parents in years because she lives in another country and she's here in the States now. And went into 10-minute story there. I said, you know, I don't want to be disrespectful to you, but I need to go. I will never do business with this person. She didn't listen. I mean, when someone's telling you parents on a deathbed and you're not listening, that's a tough call. So respect people. I respected her by honoring the call. Just respect what I have to say. We need to listen. We need to listen. And I don't think enough people are listening these days.
Totally agreed, especially in politics. But anyway.
We won't go there.
Yeah, we're not going there. But anyway, my friends, we have been listening to Ryan Roy and I talk about accountability and coaching. And, you know, what better way do you want our kids to be coached than by the parent? Now, as a school resource officer for almost 20 years and a 30-year law enforcement career, I can tell you that a lot of parents were not coaching their kids properly. They weren't even involved sometimes. We as parents have to be involved. We have to encourage and enhance and enrich their lives so they can go out and touch another. You know, my friend Zig Ziglar always said, if you go out and help enough people get what they want out of life, you'll always have what you want out of life. And I believe that starts with our children, my friends, because if we don't touch our children's life first, how can they go out and reach somebody else? You know, my goal is that if I should pass away, I want my daughter to be able to blessing other people and helping other people beyond what I ever did. And that's our goal. We should be able to reach our kids so they'll be able to reach others. It's not all about us. You know, Ryan, I have a saying I coined many years ago, and that's, if you go through life helping only yourself, you'll go through life alone. And I see a lot of kids that came into my office and they were saying, my parents don't even listen. They don't talk to me. I don't even think they love me. And I'm going like, you know what? Come here. And I'd grab them and hug them. And sometimes those hugs would just start tears flowing out. You know, so parents we have to be real. We have to be true to our parent calling, and we have to help them grow in positive development. And if you need some positive development in your life because you really never were taught that, you check out people like my friend Ryan Roy, and he'll be able to help coach you into a new direction. All right, Ariel, thanks for coming in from Australia.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me. And thank you for Ryan for showing up today and sharing this great message. Absolutely. I love you, mate. I love you.
All right, absolutely, Ryan. We appreciate your time, sir. I know we had some challenges with scheduling, but we got it done. And, you know, our thoughts and prayers will be with you this week as you travel and what you do have to, because we were listening. So, you know, I've been there, and it's not an easy road to travel. God bless you, sir. And until next time, folks, this is Dr. Keith with Dads for Life and my friend Ariel Wheeler, who is a brand specialist. And we're here every Monday night teaching and helping parents just to understand that straight talking to our kids sometimes is the best, but we're trying to learn from some of the best. And Ryan Roy had a good message tonight. So, sir, thank you very much. And we will be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Okay? All right, folks. Bye-bye. We'll see you again soon. All right? Bye-bye.